You know, I don't think people understand how easy Airbnb used to be. You could put a mattress on the floor, people would spend hundreds of dollars a night, and they'd still give you a 5-star review. You could have tons of problems with your property. As long as you were trying, people loved you. It's honestly not that easy anymore. It's a whole business now, I'm gonna be honest. But it is still so easy that I can teach you how to run an entire Airbnb business in 3 steps. The 3 Ps of running an Airbnb business. Now, these 3 Ps will actually start you from scratch. The 3 steps include not having a property yet. I shot an entire different video on these 3 Ps. I'm gonna show you that video, and then let's cut back here and talk about some pro tips so that way you can pick up your first or next property, run it the right way, and make a ton of money. Let's begin. There are 3 strategies to follow, and all of them can be done in a 3-step process. This 3-step model can be summarized as follows: prepare, pitch, perform. I've done this for 8 years. I'm one of the very first to do so and the first to teach it on the internet. I crossed the $10 million mark on Airbnb just after COVID hit. I had over 100 rental properties on Airbnb, not owning any of them, of course, when COVID hit. And I not only survived the COVID shutdown, but grew my business to over 150 properties that I don't own since then. Let's start with prepare. The first thing that you need to do is start your LLC today. You may not know if you want to do Airbnb, but you may know that you want to start a business one day. It could be anything. And I'll tell you right now, as a guy who started 4 7-figure businesses and a few that didn't work out, every LLC that I started could have been any one of those businesses. You don't need to know what you're going to do before you start your LLC. And there is a very important reason to start an LLC today, which is the older that LLC is, the more mature that it is, the easier it is to get business credit, bank accounts, all sorts of other stuff. It is so important that you could go online and buy an LLC that is a year or 2 old. And instead of spending $200 or $300 for that LLC, you could spend $2,000 or $4,000 for a shelved LLC, a shelf corporation. You can today buy an LLC, get its paperwork electronically, go to the irs.gov website and get an EIN number, and then take that EIN number to duns.com, D-U-N-S, Dun & Bradstreet, and get a DUNS number, also very fast. This is all of the stuff that you need to start building business credit. Congratulations, step 1 is done. But prepare goes farther. Now you need to study 2 topics to get ready to do Airbnb. No matter what strategy you use, owning or not owning, you need to learn market research. And good for you, this channel has a free playlist on market research. Again, no gatekeeping. Watch those videos after this one. Since you're not going to own your property, the next topic you need to learn is sales or persuasion, because anytime you don't own a property, you have to talk someone else into trusting you with their property. Market research is surprisingly easy in 2024. The reason why is there are a lot of listings with a track record that are doing well. And did you know that every one of those listings is only one listing? I want you to imagine Dallas. This is where I'm at today. If you have a listing that's amazing, that is always booked, and someone goes to search for some dates, but that one amazing listing is booked, you'll find that no one can find that listing, which means you could create a duplicate of all of the world's best listings. And let me ask you this: if I could promise you that you could start a business and be the 2nd best business in any major city, would you want to start that business? How many dealerships are there? How many restaurants or gas stations or grocery stores exist in a place like Dallas? And if you knew that you could be number 2 out of all of them, I hope you'd take that deal. That market research will tell you what type of property, what size, what neighborhood, what interior design style, and what amenities they are offering. You don't have to understand this all yet. Don't worry. This is your beginning, and that's okay. But once you understand what amenities are, or what locations are good for Airbnb, or what property sizes are good for Airbnb, and you copy the best one, you then need to hunt in your area to find a building or house that serves to copycat that one listing that you know does really well. You'll find an owner of a property or a management company, and you'll have to present yourself professionally. You don't have to dress like this, but I recommend it. There's something called executive presence. If I don't personally teach you sales or my scripts for pitching landlords, if I don't give you any information aside from this one video, if you just dressed up and spoke well and spoke in a way that was trustworthy, you would absolutely get some deals. There are scripts that I teach my students that make this a lot easier, but at the very core of it all, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. You need to be trustworthy, you need to seem confident and professional, and that's why you should learn the art of persuasion to get this done. The one pro tip you have to know right now to save you a ton of time and heartache is talk to people in person. There are so many would-be hosts that get this wrong. They send email after email, they call and they pitch on the phone, hoping that someone would give them a chance because they think they have more chances on the phone. It takes a long time to drive places, but by doing it this way, you are a stranger. You are the most stranger by email. You're still very much a stranger by phone, but if you meet someone in person, you get a chance to connect with them. You get a chance for them to trust you, so finally when you make your pitch, make your offer, they might decide to do something that they normally wouldn't decide to do, and that at the heart of it is the art of persuasion, getting someone to change their mind before they knew their mind needed to be changed. And that is step number 2, my friends, the pitch. There are a few things that you can pitch at this point. The easiest one, without contest, is called rental arbitrage. It's where you pitch a landlord to rent you their property. You then put it on the short-term rental market furnished and operated. The reason why this is the easiest is you are guaranteeing a certain amount of money and a lease term. It's the most similar to what they already do. A long-term rental contract to you looks almost identical to a regular one, an everyday long-term lease. You're just changing terms on your end. The landlord needs to do nothing to make this work for him. There are other ways to do this. You can do something called co-hosting or revenue share, which is essentially the same relationship, but you are not guaranteeing money to the landlord. Instead of paying a rent payment, you're paying a percentage of revenue, which leads to a risk, which is if you made $0 of revenue, he would get $0 of rent. This doesn't happen. In my 8 years and thousands of students, this just doesn't actually ever happen, but it is a legitimate fear for a landlord who doesn't know the industry. And if you're new to this game, it's hard to convince them to overcome that fear. So I teach all of my students to pick up one rental arbitrage first, and then once you have a property that's performing well, you can make a pitch deck showing your performance to talk to other owners so you can show that you're not paying them. This video is long overdue, don't you agree? The last time I did a freebie video like this was 5 years ago, and right now on the internet, you see ad after ad of people saying, I will teach you the secret of how to Airbnb with no properties. Buy my course, attend this webinar. Pro tip, here on YouTube or Instagram, if you see a stranger like me teaching Airbnb, look at the top for a sponsored icon. If you see sponsored, that means that no one on Instagram or YouTube actually trusts this person, so they are paying to get in front of you. If they were actually trustworthy, you'd find this video organically. And believe me, I'm not saying this to cast shade at some stranger. I'm saying this for your own good. I, possibly like you, grew up very poor on welfare in Wisconsin, and I had to fight my way up. I did not have anyone on YouTube to help me do this when I did this in 2014. I have way more than I could ever need, and I believe that this industry should be easy for people to start, meaning you should not have to pay $5,000 for a program to teach you what I'm about to teach you for free. It's not shade, it's just a different standard of ethics. The third way that you can do this starts to bleed into ownership with creative finance. There's something called rent to own. You tell a landlord, I would like to potentially buy this product. I will pay you rent for 5 years. You can tell a landlord, I would like the option to buy this property from you. I'd like to pay you rent for a period of time and then maybe finance the rest of it a few years from now. You have to give them a down payment typically and then pay rents. This is expensive. If you give a landlord 10% down on a $700,000 house, you're spending $70,000. So it's not exactly cost effective, but you could do this. And there are ways to do this with other people's money. You could fundraise the $70,000 from investors where they are part owner of your Airbnb business and you guys buy that property together. It's better to own a percentage of a property that you paid $0 for than to not own any property at all. Right? There's another way to do the same that's kind of like rent to own, but it's called subject to. It's a mortgage assumption. You take over someone else's mortgage. This works when the person's distressed. They're behind on their mortgage payments. They're going to go into foreclosure and somebody needs to save them. Right now is a pretty good time for saving people behind on their mortgage payment. But my friends, no matter which one you do, you will find yourself on the pitching side of a deal. You'll find yourself talking to a skeptical property owner, and you have to clear the gap. And that's why sales and persuasion is going to be the most important part of anything you could learn Airbnb without owning property. I do have a playlist on how to pitch landlords Airbnb. Again, free content, no gatekeeping, enjoy that. But you will need to both study market research and sales at this point. I hope you're ready to put in that work. This is something that you can do for cheap, but it takes the effort to learn, and I hope you're ready to do that. And step number 3, congratulations, you have a property and now it's time to perform. There are a few topics that you will learn, and right now is way too early for any of them. Let me remind you, market research and sales. But on the back end of this, when you're near having a property, you'll learn a little bit about interior design. You'll learn a little bit about photography if you're a DIY person. You'll learn a little bit about pricing strategy, how to create a listing, hospitality, how to talk to guests. And again, this YouTube channel teaches everything for free. I just recently did a bunch of videos on design and staging in 2024, and here's a bonus for you guys. If you learn sales and persuasion like I'm asking you to, you could talk a host who has quit doing Airbnb into giving you their furniture on payments. Instead of you spending $5,000 to $10,000 or $15,000 upfront on furniture for your first Airbnb, you talk a landlord into giving you a deal. Then you talk an Airbnb host into moving their furniture into your home when they quit, saving them having to sell at a loss and saving them having to put that stuff into storage. You then give them 10% or 20% of their asking price down, and then make monthly payments until the agreed upon total is paid in full. This way you can still get a slight discount on used furniture, maybe 85 or 90% of what they paid, but you get a whole year or more to pay it off. And with that, my friends, here are some closing pro tips. One major thing that I have learned in the last couple of years is that good design is the best defense against a down market. Most people did not see the bust coming. I did do a video 18 months ago saying it was going to happen, but no one knew it would be as bad as it was going to be. People who had co-hosts and people who had commoditized properties, which are properties that aren't special, were the ones that got hurt the most. And if you want to do great in this industry and make a lot of money without all of the hardship of a down market, the best defense is to have a good, unique property, and then on top of that, have a great customer experience. Loyal guests and beautiful properties together will make you a lot of money for the longest time. If you need answers and data and direction and you want it today, you can reach out to my team. I do direct coaching and direct mentorship with business owners all of the time. So if you are a high-level person with high-level needs, talk to my team and you can work with me one-on-one, and I will help you start your Airbnb business. And no, of course, working with me is not free. If you want to do this on a budget, keep watching my free content, because there are people who've only done that and have started 7-figure Airbnb businesses on free content alone. But if you want to go fast and you have the means to, because you run other businesses already, having me work with you business owner to business owner is probably the best way to go. There's a link in the comments for that. And while you are here with your eye on design, watch this video next, the 10 furnishing rules that I used that changed my Airbnb business forever. There's a playlist on furnishing as well, everything you need to know right here for free. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end. You're my favorite people, and as always, I'll see you on the other side.